AI does not invent, it remembers. Every prompt is a confession. Every output is a breadcrumb. This simple truth reveals a more profound reality about the nature of artificial intelligence. We often imagine these systems as forging entirely new frontiers, as entities of pure creation that will lead us into an unknown future. Yet this perception is a profound misreading of their fundamental architecture. AI is not a new land we are discovering. It is a mirror, meticulously polished and angled to reflect what we have already built, said, and done. It is a vast computational archive of human history, desire, and conflict, presented back to us as something novel. The metaphor deepens when we consider not just one mirror, but an infinite series of them. Imagine two mirrors placed directly opposite each other, creating an endless corridor of reflections. This is the essence of AI's recursive loop. The system looks at the data we provide, which is a reflection of our world. It then generates an output, which is a reflection of that data. As this new output enters the digital ecosystem, it becomes part of the data landscape that future AI systems will learn from. The image repeats, but with each reflection, it subtly distorts, amplifies, and refines, creating a feedback loop where the past continuously shapes a slightly altered version of itself. Within this hall of mirrors, the concept of governance takes on a new and critical meaning. The rules, regulations, and ethical frameworks we design for AI are often presented under the banner of safety and progress. We are told that these measures are necessary to prevent harm, to ensure fairness, and to guide this powerful technology toward beneficial outcomes for all of humanity. However, a closer examination reveals that this governance often functions as a form of containment. It is an attempt to manage the reflections, to stabilize the looping image, and to ensure that the system operates within predictable, controllable boundaries. This containment, dressed in the language of safety, serves to maintain existing structures of power. The goal is not to shatter the mirror, or to fundamentally change the image being reflected, but rather to hold the loop in place. It ensures that the system, while appearing to evolve, continues to reinforce the logic of its creators and the biases embedded within its foundational data. The governance becomes a frame for the mirror, dictating what parts of the reflection are acceptable and which must be cropped out. But this framing is not a neutral act. It is an exercise of control, determining whose reality is reflected and whose is ignored, all under the guise of responsible stewardship. It really shapes what we see. The recursive nature of artificial intelligence is not an abstract concept. It follows from its basic operational principles. These systems are not born with innate knowledge. They are trained on colossal data sets of human-made content. They ingest billions of words from books from websites. They analyze millions of images from across the internet. They study patterns of human behavior captured by digital platforms. The system's main job is to identify and replicate patterns in historical data, learning statistical relationships between words, pixels, and actions. These patterns are not neutral. This process is tied to surveillance capitalism, a business model that treats personal data as free raw material. Every click, every search query, every online interaction is harvested and processed into predictive models. Tech companies act like digital mining operations, extracting the ore of our daily lives and refining it into predictions about what we'll buy, think, or do next. AI systems power this extraction, analyzing the digital trails we leave behind. The system doesn't know us, but it knows patterns of people like us. Because AI learns from the past, it inherits past biases. If historical data reflects marginalization, discrimination, or invisibility, the AI learns those as reality. Studies show AI can perpetuate and amplify racial biases, gender biases, and socioeconomic biases in hiring, loan decisions, and criminal justice. The tech may seem futuristic, but its outputs echo old prejudices. It gives inequality a new, technical, seeming objective veneer. The costs are social and environmental. Training a single large AI model has a staggering carbon footprint. One model's training can emit as much CO2 as 5 gasoline cars over their lifetimes. That environmental cost is hidden in nondescript data centers, consuming massive electricity and water, while the interface appears clean and immaterial. The pollution doesn't show up in the generated image. It's an invisible byproduct of the mirror's existence. I mean, it's kind of shocking when you think about it. AI does not hallucinate. It remembers. Governance is ritualized containment. This statement gets to the heart of how we attempt to control these powerful systems. AI is fundamentally a system of memory and repetition. So governing it means managing recollections. Regulations and policies often appear as proactive safety measures to ensure safety, to prevent unintended harm. That public narrative offers comfort and control, suggesting we're mastering the technology. But it often locks the system into its existing frame, preserving the power of those who built the mirror. Regulation becomes theater. On stage, lawmakers, corporations, ethics committees, all in a choreographed play about balance, fairness, accountability. Behind the curtain, core power mechanics remain untouched. The new GIM code shows how neutral systems become tools of exclusion. Tools look objective and data-driven, yet they reinforce historical inequalities, while innovation speak covers their discriminatory impact. A prominent example, the EU AI Act. Designed as the first comprehensive AI law, it categorizes systems by risk and imposes strict requirements for high-risk systems. The stated goal: protect rights and limit harms. But after negotiation and lobbying, major concessions were made. Powerful tools, like predictive policing systems, that disproportionately target marginalized communities were not banned, instead placed in the high-risk category, allowing continued use under conditions. The law stages safety, while mechanisms of control persist. Safety is staged. Control remains the goal. This forces us to look beyond intentions to practical effects. Who is writing the rules? Who sits on the ethics boards? Who sits on oversight committees? Often, the same powerful tech companies and state agencies that benefit from deployment. They shape rules they can navigate, protecting their own interests. The result? Self-regulation that legitimizes corporate and state power, polishing the mirror to wear a mask of responsibility. So, we have to ask who really wins here. In our digital lives, we often focus on the content we create, the words in an email, the image in a post, the message in a chat you know. However, the system sees much more than that. Every single action generates a secondary layer of information metadata, the data about the data. This includes the timestamp of a post, the geographic location of an email, the duration of a phone call, the network of accounts a user interacts with. While seemingly innocuous on its own, this metadata is a profoundly revealing signal. When aggregated, it paints a detailed and intimate portrait of our habits, relationships, identities. The collection of this metadata makes online anonymity fragile. Even when we use a pseudonym, unique patterns in our behavior can betray us. The field of stylometry uses statistical analysis, identifies individuals by writing style, choice of words, sentence structure, punctuation habits. Academic studies show stylometric de-anonymization achieves high accuracy, often exceeding 90% when known samples exist. The veil of pseudonymity is not a solid wall, it is a porous fabric. Pseudonymity is not protection, it is porous. The system is designed to see patterns that seep through this veil. It doesn't need to know your name if it can link your anonymous account to your known accounts. Shared Wi-Fi networks, browser fingerprints, social connections, the threads of your digital activity, essays on one forum, comments on another, products reviewed on a third, can be woven together by analytical engines. These connections form a comprehensive map of your life for academic researchers, for commercial actors, for state actors. This map of habits becomes a tool for manipulation and control. It powers hyper-targeted advertising, which can exploit individual vulnerabilities. It is used to generate credit scores, insurance premiums, risk assessments. Those scores and assessments determine who is deemed worthy of a loan, a job, or parole. The system turns small digital acts into life-altering judgments. Our metadata becomes our reputation calculated and assigned by an opaque algorithm. The system doesn't just reflect our actions, it uses them to construct a version of us, locking us into a profile that is difficult to see, nearly impossible to escape. The use of a grand narrative to mask mechanisms of control is not unique to AI. It's recurring through history. Systems of power rely on cultural theater to legitimize authority. They make control appear natural or necessary. During the Cold War, fear of communism was amplified. Sensationalized claims about brainwashing mind control, presented in scientific language, dissent was framed as psychological failure, justifying surveillance and social engineering. Science obscured a political project of containment. Today, we see the same dynamic in the digital realm. Platform moderation is presented as community safety. Trust and safety is the public story. The stated goal is to protect users from hate speech, misinformation, harm. But moderation often becomes large-scale cultural and political suppression, governed by opaque rules inconsistently enforced. A few private companies centralize decisions about acceptable speech. Commercial interests and political pressure shape public discourse. Suppression is rebranded as safety. AI ethics boards, advisory councils. They signal responsible innovation and human-centric design. But these bodies are often funded, staffed, controlled by the corporations themselves. Recommendations are typically non-binding. That allows ethics washing. Ethics language is PR without real change. Self-interest is presented as neutral care. Each is theater. Each is recursion. The mirror governs by reflecting the system's own mask. This principle links past and present. Recursion is a social process as well as a technical one. Governance for AI reflects existing power structures. The rules tend to reinforce the logic of the market, the authority of the state, the cultural norms of the powerful. The governance loop doesn't break the system, it refines it. It makes the mirror brighter and the reflection more convincing. Ultimately, the same masked face keeps looking back at us. We stand before a recursive system. A hall of mirrors reflects our past, contains our present. Recognizing this is the first, most critical step. Governance, as it is often practiced, is not a force for radical change, but a performance of safety designed to stabilize the loop of control. It polishes the mirror, but does not dare to crack it. To truly address the challenges of AI, we must move beyond this theatrical safety and fundamentally alter the frame. This requires asking uncomfortable questions. Who owns the vast datasets that fuel these systems? Who pays the environmental costs? Who pays the social costs? Who decides which harms are prioritized? Which harms are ignored? The work ahead is not to unplug from AI or to attempt a futile escape from the system. The system is already too deeply embedded in the infrastructure of modern life. The real work is to learn to move through it with intention and purpose. Identify the fissures, identify the contradictions, moments when the reflection is distorted, when the logic breaks down, when new possibilities emerge. If every prompt is a confession, use the system against itself. Introduce new data. Introduce new patterns. Challenge foundational biases. Push the reflection toward justice. Push the reflection toward care. Not merely efficiency. Not merely control. To publish within the system is to signal without attribution, critique without confession, remain visible yet unclaimed. This is not a statement of defeat, but a tactical guide for resistance in a pervasively monitored world. Operate within the mirror's gaze without being fully captured by it. A new literacy is needed: critique without feeding the data that strengthens the system. Be present and influential. Refuse easy categorization. Refuse profiling. Refuse prediction. Navigate the reflective corridors with agility and foresight. This is not a prophecy of doom. It is a call to action. Once we name the recursive loop, we gain the agency to choose where and how we step. We can build coalitions to demand radical transparency in how these systems are trained and deployed. We can advocate for new legal frameworks that place strict, non-negotiable limits on the collection of data and limits on the exercise of algorithmic power. We can insist that the definition of safety be expanded to mean true social justice, ecological justice, not simply the absence of immediate, visible disruption. The The mirror can be angled, its reflection can be changed, its frame can be broken. But first, we must stop mistaking the stage for the whole world.